What up, my friends? How are you doing? We're here today to talk about some Final Fantasy ridiculousness. Because once I saw the Jumbo Cactuar, I knew that's what we were doing tonight. There's no getting around that. So, first things first, let's share the live stream link in the Discord, and then we shall proceed from that point. All right. Dun, 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 dun. I love the Jumbo Cactuar so much that I was like, I'm actually going to put it in the... I've changed the thumbnail for this channel legitimately for the actual video. So, there we go. Okay, there we go. That's done. That's good. So, let us do our hellos to the people who have arrived here at the beginning of the stream. What up, Jess, Eng, Millmaster, Beasley, Zaria, Larry, Manuel, Zircon, Kyle, Watcher, Crawfish, Kevin, Coding, Angle, Spork, Shelton, Potts, Bob, Fisher, BK, 10-4, Everyday, Joe, Sum, Al, Finn, Cosmo, Rockhound, Breakstop. There we go. There we go. That's everybody, I believe, in the chat. So hello to you. Hello to anybody I missed and assembled lurkers. Hey, and Millmaster gifting a membership right out the gates. You've given it to the Wildebeest. All right. Nicely done. You are the member lord. And there's 69 people in the stream as I'm saying that. So there's double levels to that, bro. All right. Bum, 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 bum. Millmaster. Let's see what it be. Bum, 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 bum. What's with all the loots around me? Oh, this is my penance. This is my penance. I accidentally deleted yesterday's live stream. So most of the live streams happen here. I delete them afterwards on this channel. I upload them to the stream archive. Sometimes I screw up and delete from the stream archive, and there's no recording to put up afterwards. So that's what I did to yesterday's stream with the loot goals. So I will abide by the terms of our agreement. I will take the loot deck down to the game store. I will take the plushie loots down there. I will do the I love loot, and whenever loot takes damage, I'll kiss the plushies, as is our ridiculous deal. So this is my way of affirming my commitment to the to the agreement that we have made through yesterday's ridiculous stream. All right. Finn, is there goals tonight? I mean, I didn't set one up, but I can if you want one. I mean, I don't know. It's a feature that I've only used so far for loot torments. So, you know. That's really it. What up, EP? Breakstop. Would I want Boros or Celestian, Kellen? I mean, the Wilds one does have that fun vibe, right? I think the original one. That's my answer. That's my answer. That's right, Pichu. None of the Final Fantasy stuff is silver bordered. In fact, there won't be silver bordered cards really probably ever again, unless Wizards does them weirdly as a throwback in some mystery booster set. Like everything now is craziness. Magic is just pure on insanity. The guide rails have just been yanked down off the sides, bro, and it's pure wacky McDacky craziness. Ilvatar, yo, I thought the exact same thing. I thought I thought do the greater good. We'll talk about that more when we get to that card. I have all of the Final Fantasy cards that got spoiled today, that got previewed today, however you want to look at it. I've got all of those in a slideshow for us to go through and discuss. So that's going to be the meat of what we're doing today. What up, Juglum? Jess, loot's been a curse and a blessing. His stupid look made me mad, but people's trolling me did get me into Commander. It's true, actually. It's true. I never would have thought that loot would have been the pathway into Commander, and I definitely hate his guts, but I do like Commander quite a bit. So, it is what it is. It is what it is. What up, Pierce? How's it going, man? Aren't silver bordered cards officially replaced with test cards? No, that was never a thing. That's just something different that they did. The uncards are meant to be playable Magic cards, and the test cards aren't even meant to be technically playable. So the playtest cards that they make can be even more insane than like uncards, you know? Joe, you love loot. I would go and see a doctor about that. You know, that's clearly a sign of either like a parasite, a brain tumor, mental illness of some type, right? You're definitely going to want to get that checked. Finn, you want Slow Strike to come into the real game? I mean, they already have something similar to that in terms of creatures that give the creatures they're fighting first strike. A creature that doesn't have first strike, that whatever's blocking or blocks it gains first strike, and that does exist in Magic. That's the closest you're ever going to get. I can't see Wizards adding Slow Strike in as a real ability because it's not going to make anybody happy. You know, no one's going to be like, this is an awesome ability. Unglued seems tame compared to the latest regular sets and Final Fantasy stuff. Yeah, actually that's true. Most of it is, really. What's wrong with loot? Oh, everything. He's a forced attempt to make a baby Yoda. He's cutesy garbage, and Wizards has insisted upon him, right? We had Fibblethip created organically. We had Tiny Bones created organically just as random characters. People loved them. Wizards leaned into it. This, on the other hand, they did a volley of all kinds of crazy merch, and they forced him, like literally they called him the key to everything. They've shoved him into the forefront of Aether Drift. They are massively desperate to turn this into a thing, and people can feel it. It's not organic, it's not enjoyable, and they're not spending their time making worthwhile world building, right? So it's this finding this is supposed to be the culmination of the entire story for Thunder Junction. There are many, many issues with loot that drive at the heart of what's wrong with Magic the Gathering now. We must make profits for the shareholders at the expense of everything else. It just doesn't fit in its attempt to make something for the kids too, right? So there's a whole bunch of different layers that make loot genuinely dreadful, and I do hate him. Tendo, what happened to the game we love? I mean, Magic's still fun to play with. It's still fun to play Magic. That's my ultimate deciding factor. If I'm ever not enjoying Magic, like there are some people who have the mistaken assumption that I am just rabidly anti-Hasbro and rabidly anti-Magic because of how critical I've been in so many different videos, right? But ultimately, and I was talking about this down with the Gamester owner, somebody left an absurd comment saying, oh, now he's going, yay, Hasbro, go, go, go. And it's like, when did I say that? I still think Hasbro is greedy. I still don't like what they're doing with Magic. But guess what? I'm going to enjoy what I want to enjoy. I don't care if somebody comes along and it's like, oh, you're not against this. Oh, you need to be against this. No, man, I'm going to decide what I want to engage with, what I enjoy, and I'm going to play with it. So you get to make those choices too. I never tell anybody they have to hate what I hate, but there are some people who got the mistaken impression that I'm an anti-Magic and anti-Wizards of the Coast channel, right? When I love Magic the Gathering, that's why I play it. That's why I engage with it. There are much bigger things I could be talking about to a bigger audience. I'm not stuck doing Magic the Gathering. I'm an intelligent, fun, funny dude. People like interacting with me. I can write my own ticket and whatever kind of fucking content I want. So anybody who's like, oh, I can't believe you've completely changed. And it's like, no, this is how it's been all along. I call out the garbage and I praise what I like. And I will continue to do that regardless of what anybody else's opinion is. Because guess what? I do this to share my opinion, my thoughts, not to regurgitate what other people want to hear. So just like I ignore the people who are like, you gotta stop making negative videos, I'm not listening to anybody who tells me that I have to hate what I like. No, I'll enjoy what I want to. You make your own decisions. I'm not going to sit there and tell you you can't leave those comments, but I'm certainly not going to listen to you. And if you're rude about it, I'm just going to kick you to the curb because I ain't tolerating that shit from anybody. I didn't tolerate it from people when I was making videos that they considered negative, and I'm certainly not going to tolerate it when I'm enjoying something and somebody wants to come in and be a pissbag. You're allowed to disagree with me. You're allowed to think I'm wrong. You're allowed to have different opinions. You're not allowed to be a prick to me, though. It's that simple. There's a million places you can do it on the internet, but not in my house, son, right? So that's the deal. Blake, correct. I praise Hasbro when they do something decent, and I condemn them when they don't. It's really straightforward. So everybody can make their own decisions, but it's hilarious to me that some people are, oh my God, he loves Hasbro now. What are you talking about? You have to rail against this. No, I don't, and I won't, right? So do whatever you want. I'm not here to stop you, but I ain't gonna stop me either, you know? Gray, people don't understand you can be critical of something while liking it at the same time. It is bizarre to me. It genuinely has been a bizarre experience where people are just like, you hate Magic, you should leave. It's like, I don't hate Magic. I'm just not like a mindless chud like you, where I just go, you have to love everything about it or nothing at all. No, that's not how adults that aren't two-dimensional function, bro. You can totally go, I very much enjoy playing Magic. I enjoy these aspects of Magic and world building. I really liked Bloomborough. Like, people are like, you can't like Final Fantasy because you dump on every set. Well, you haven't been paying attention. I praised Foundations. I praised Bloomborough. I've praised other things in between. So where do you go from here? Nuh-uh. You have to always hate it or always love it. Are you 6 years old, bro? You know? That's the mentality. So it is what it is. At the end of the day, I'm glad that I'm excited about the Final Fantasy stuff. I didn't know how I was going to feel about it, right? So ultimately, I was on the fence. Nathan says, go like the stream, you degenerates. Billable, do any bird watching lately? Wait, is this a code? Wait. Okay, let me put you up on the Lord. Let me put you up as Lord of the board while I try and figure out if this is referencing something that I should be aware of or if I'm just confused. Bird watching? Like for real bird watching? I mean, no. No. Nathan says, why is the board only cost me $2? It didn't. Billable jumped ahead of you. He jumped ahead of you, bro. Millmaster, what haters like that are telling you is I wish I felt as passionate about anything the way you are passionate about this one thing. That's it, man. I love Magic the Gathering. That's the funny part. It's you need to hate. You need to stop. You hate this. Go find another hobby. And it's like, bro, I love this game more than you can possibly conceive. I play Magic virtually every day. I read up on it, talk about it all the time. And I'm having a whole new wave of fun with the Commander stuff too, right? Like, are you kidding me? So why would I quit my favorite hobby because you've drawn a conclusion from my videos? It's kind of amazing, you know, that people think like that. But at the end of the day, people don't want to put very much effort into thinking about things, and they just want to quickly write you off as whatever. So it doesn't matter. Like, on the Final Fantasy subject, somebody literally left a comment going, this guy has never played Final Fantasy games. I legitimately believe it because he said Eris instead of Aerith, and he said Sephiroth instead of Sephiroth or whatever, which is That's not even how you say it. The fact that he didn't pronounce these the way that I believe they're supposed to be pronounced means he's never played a Final Fantasy game. And I just looked at this and I'm like, this is insane to me. I started with the first Final Fantasy. I played Final Fantasy 2, which is Final Fantasy 4 on the Super Nintendo. Same with 3 as 6. I didn't play Mystic Quest because I was insulted by how, like, demeaning it was. It was like baby's first RPG. I've played so many different Final Fantasies, and like 2 and 3, I played through so many times, bro. I remember the emotional impact of Porum and Palom being turned to stone. It's like, no! And when they're freed at the end, like, there's so much. Tella going overboard. Tella, don't do it. You can't take it, buddy. The spell's too much for you. Like, there's all these moments. And so my first instinct was to say to this guy, listen, and I can go on about this, but I realized he's already saying, this guy just looked at an AI summary. He doesn't even know anything about Final Fantasy. So no matter what I say to this guy, he's just going to write it off as you just took that from online. And it's like, ultimately, why do I care about the opinion of somebody who's only ever seen one of my videos, doesn't know me or who I am, and is making this judgment? Yeah, cool. You're totally allowed to think that. Go and tell other people. I know the truth. That's fine, bro. That's fine. Kensuke says, give the board to Nathan Lamoth. Oh, what? Kensuke. Look at you. Look at you. All right. All right, I shall. Brent says, Perp loves dumb nonsense. It's stupid, low-effort, contradictory shit that drives him nuts. Yeah, exactly. People are like, how can you say you love Final Fantasy, but you hate Aether Drift? And I'm like, Aether Drift is like the worst set they've ever made. It's literal, lazy, slapped-together garbage. Vroom, vroom, beep, beep nonsense for idiots, right? And Final Fantasy, oh, look, they're going to put way more effort into it because it's another company's IP and they're trying to sell it to a bunch of other people. So yeah, if Wizards of the Coast actually cared about their own IPs and treated them properly like they did with Bloomborough, for example, then I'm all about it. But Aether Drift is garbage. Nathan says, if I want the board, I'll take it. It's still Kensuke's. So, all right, hold on. Cosmo, you like the Mummy deck. Bro, when I say Aether Drift is garbage, I'm not talking about the Commander decks. The Commander deck, especially the zombie one, is amazing. It is dripping with crazy flavor. Like, it evokes Amonkhet in an amazing way that makes you realize that we were robbed. Wizards took a bunch of slush art from 3 different worlds and stapled them together, painted roads on them, and gave us a bucket of horse shit. But the Amonkhet stuff, there's so much more to explore after Nicol Bolas and the Phyrexian invasion, the new gods, the craziness going out on the wastelands, bro. I literally did a lore video on the follow-up to Amonkhet. I didn't do it on Aether Drift because the main set is garbage, but I have a Magic the Gathering lore channel with 150 lore videos on it. This is another thing. People are just like, you hate Magic. Bitch, I make Magic lore videos. I have pack openings happening over on my Hatcher channel. But I don't expect people to know about all my channels and go to them. If somebody just wants to write me off as a hater, that's what they're going to do. But ultimately, the stuff going on with the Commander decks is awesome. And it directly contradicts the lack of effort that they're putting into the main Aether Drift set. It's garbage. It's absolute garbage. But yeah, now I'll get people on the newest videos being, excuse me, you have to keep hating Magic? Oh, I can't believe that you like it now, but you didn't like these other things. Yeah. Do you have any cognitive faculties at all? Can you discern things? And also, I get to deal with people who are up their own ass about Final Fantasy. You know how there's a bunch of actually people in the Magic community? Actually, I know this thing that you don't know. Well, actually, I do know it. But anyways, go on. Make yourself feel better. Feel like the big man. I told that guy on the internet a thing. I have nothing going on in my life. So I have to take this small fucking thing and act like me knowing something you don't, makes me awesome and you suck. So now I've got to deal with morons who are into Final Fantasy acting like that too. But I'm accustomed to it already. So go off, son. If it makes you feel like a big man, I told him, fill your boots. I don't give a shit. It's nothing new. I have had people condescending to me about games for almost a decade now. It ain't a new meal to me. I'm just gonna go, same old, baby. If it makes you feel like the big man, if it makes you feel better about yourself, cool. No skin off my back. I ain't losing any sleep over it, you know? So yeah. So yeah. Caleb, that is my face, but if you're talking about the daring mechanic, that was edited by somebody. So they altered the artwork so it's got my face and put loot in it and added loot into the flavor text because people are endlessly trolling me with loot nonsense, okay? Like, where is it? Do I have it loaded in here? I think it might be gone. I had some of the images. If you look in the Discord, you'll find people trolling me. Nathan says, just for that, Kensuke, we're giving the board back to Billable. All right, very well. Very well. Billable. What? Lee, wait, it says Lee, and then it says, I swear for real. I can't see your entire name, bro. When will I adopt you? I'll adopt you today to disown you tomorrow. You've disappointed me. You've disappointed me. All right, so Billable's going up on the board. Oh wait, no, hold on. What's going on here? Terror225 says, I want the Jumbo Cactus card for my mono green deck. 10,000 power, give it haste and trample, instant threat. Bro, give it a Loxodon Warhammer so it has trample and lifelink. And give it the Mage Slayer so that when it attacks, it does damage equal to its power to the planeswalker or creature that it's attacking, or player that it's attacking. Right? As soon as I saw it, I was like, oh man, there's a bunch of dumb nonsense I want to do with this. I love it. It's so big and so dumb. And it's crazy to me that I read it and I went, it's so stupid that its power gets to 1,000. And it's also hilarious that like 7 mana creatures are pretty much unplayable. And there's no difference between that thing being a 40 power creature and 10,000 power. It's all just the gigantic number nonsense. And I love big, dumb insanity. I always have. So when I saw it, I just went... I saw people in the Discord going, I hate this. This makes me want to quit. All this. And I'm like, I can't tell you how to feel about this, but I'm not going to pretend for a second that I don't love it because I do. It's awesome. It's awesome. Caleb, you were confused? Don't worry, man. People are having a field day trolling me with loot. It's become a thing. People have made multiple loot decks. In fact, I have to go and play a loot deck for Commander this weekend. I have to go down and I have to bring all the loot plushies, and every time a loot gets played, I have to yell, I love loot, and anytime somebody does any damage to any of my loot cards, I have to kiss one of the loot plushies, because them's the rules. Them's the rules from yesterday's stream, and I tell you to go and watch the stream to see what I'm talking about, but like a Magoo, I deleted that stream, which sucks because it was awesome and hilarious and also full of my pain, which people like. So, this is my contrition. This is my contrition. So yeah, man, the Jumbo Cactuar is hilariously goofy. Like, really dumb. I swear for real, I, Thatcher, truly love loot. That's your full name, Lee? What the hell, man? What the hell? I'm glad that I couldn't read the whole thing before. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Fisher's membership message has already brewing 2 new decks, Naya, Cloud, and Cecil. What is Magic at this point? It's a total mixed bag. It's a total mixed bag at this point. You have awesome sets like Bloomborough. You've got solid sets like Foundation. You've got terrible sets like Markov Manor, Thunder Junction, Aether Drift. And then you've got weird in the middle, nobody loves it that much, nobody hates it that much, Duskmourn, where you just go, it exists, but why? Some Ghostbusters crap and all that shoved in there. So we're entering into the new universe beyond laden era of Magic, where all the big releases, the most important releases of the year, are only going to be Universes Beyond. And we know it because Tarkir is in like a month and a half, guys. It's in like a month and a half, and we know nothing about it. I've seen more about Lorwyn from next year than I have for Tarkir. So, Zircon, you thought I couldn't read it because of loot? Yeah, well, that would have been good too. That would have been good. Pots, yeah, man, exactly. The experience that we had before, we just did it again yesterday, right? Same kind of deal. Same kind of deal. So let's actually go through the cards. Let's take a look at the cards. We'll talk about this. Now, you guys, just so you know, I don't know every Final Fantasy. I played up till Final Fantasy 12, and then I dipped out because Final Fantasy 12 didn't hit for me. I found the characters to be shallow and unfulfilling, and it felt like everybody was just kind of interchangeable. So I liked the Gambit system because I could like eat a sandwich while it was running my combat commands, which I found kind of nifty. But ultimately, Final Fantasy 12 was the first Final Fantasy I didn't finish. I said, no thanks. No thanks. And then I never tried any of the other ones. So there's going to be some characters that I'm not familiar with, right? And hell, there might be some characters from some of the Final Fantasy I've played that I just don't recall because some of the Final Fantasies I played a million years ago. Like a million years ago, never played them again. Stuff like Final Fantasy 2, Final Fantasy 3, also known as 4 and 6, depending on whether you're from North America or not. Those ones I've played a ton. Final Fantasy 7 as well, 8, 9, you know. But right now, I only own Final Fantasy 4 and 6. I have the pixel remasters of those. So if anybody's got Steam codes for the other Final Fantasies and wants to hook me up, because looking at the Final Fantasy stuff today and yesterday has gotten me in the mood to play some more. I'm in the middle of my Final Fantasy 6 playthrough. I'm in the World of Ruin right now. All right, so the cards. The cards. Let's take a look. What do we got here? Need to make this a bit bigger on my end to see. Finn. The pixel remasters have nicer. They're a bit nicer. I like them a little bit more. Okay, so we've got Dragon of Mount Gulg, and this is a mono artwork, guys. A mono. The dude who's responsible for a bunch of epic original Final Fantasy artwork is in on this. And this is some epic artwork, although admittedly, I don't remember the Dragon of Mount Gulg, so I don't know which game this fits into. Not 100% sure. But I do know that Ancient Copper Dragon is busted. 2 red and 4, 6/5 flyer. When it deals combat damage to a player, roll a d20, and you get a number of treasure tokens equal to the result. That's absolutely bonkers, man. That is just really, really crazy. And, I mean, these are in short supply. These were in the Dungeons and Dragons set originally. And that's it. I don't believe that they ever did any reprints of this. And you have this absolutely epic artwork where, I mean, it's a copper dragon, but hold on. I'm still sick. It's a copper dragon, but, you know, copper dragons... Is this actually a copper dragon? What kind of dragon is this? What is he breathing? Light fire, you know? I know, like, Dungeons and Dragons dungeons more, right? But anyways, this is a very epic include. It tells you which game it's from at the bottom of the card. Does it? Oh, it does! Final Fantasy 1! Oh, okay. All right. Fair enough. Well, thanks for the heads up on that. You're right. That's sweet that they put that down there. That makes it easier to place. Final Fantasy 1, I've played it, definitely, back in the original days. Gotta get the rat tail, make your guys bigger. Like, I remember that one, but it's completely eclipsed by Final Fantasy 2 and 3, otherwise known as 4 and 6, right? So, for me, I replayed those way, way more, and I never really went back. I think I played Final Fantasy a lot when that was all I had. Final Fantasy 2 came along, and I kept playing that. Final Fantasy 3 came along, and I kept playing that, right? And then we went to Final Fantasy 7 on the PlayStation. But until then, I was alternating between playing Final Fantasy 2, Final Fantasy 3, or Chrono Trigger, for example. Maybe busting out some Secret of Mana, Lufia 2. Like, there were a lot of epic RPGs that consumed my time, right? So, this definitely does have the feel of Final Fantasy 1 style artwork, right? I mean, this isn't supposed to be, oh, what is his name? Starts with a G. It's not Gallad. Come on, man. Oh, it's the villain of the first Final Fantasy. Guys, I've never played a Final Fantasy. Garland. I've never played a Final Fantasy, boys. I'm saying it right here on the record. It's all a lie. Everything is a lie. I'm saying it for street cred. I know I didn't bother to learn everything about Assassin's Creed for the Assassin's Creed stuff and all the other games I covered, but I decided for this one, I was just going to fake it hardcore because I desperately need people who like Final Fantasy to think that I like it. All right, moving on. We've got Tonberry. Man, I'll tell you right now, I read the Cactuar, and that's all I read. That's it. The rest of the cards, I just grabbed, bam, 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 to be surprised by them. And I saw the Cactuar when I was down at the LGS today, talking about it. And we were talking about Cactuar and how dumb it was. And we were saying, I was like, bro, Tonberry? They're going to do a Tonberry, right? And he's like, I don't know if they'll do a Tonberry or if they'll do a kill spell based on him or whatever. And so here we are. Here's Tonberry. 1 black for a 2/1 salamander horror. I love the fact that he's just a little goopy guy. He's just, oh, I got my little blade and my little lamp, my little lantern. I'm just boop, boop, boop. And he looks so harmless, but then he just ganks you, right? So 1 black for a 2/1. Enters tapped with a stun counter on him because he's slow to begin with. Chef's Knife. During your turn, this creature has first strike and death touch. He can wipe out anything with that. If it's not indestructible or something, bam. 1 damage with death touch is enough to kill any creature, and first strike means you get to hit first. So he's just like, da-da-da, right? Fearful monsters that creep ever forward, knives poised with deadly intent. That works. The mechanics that they have incorporated in here evokes Tonberry, and we were talking about how this set is as somebody who likes Final Fantasy, you're going to have to accept the fact this is probably going to be like the D&D set, where we're going to get cards that don't 100% feel good enough for what they're representing. Like, for the D&D set, they had bullets, land sharks, those crazy beasts, man. If you've ever fought against bullets in D&D when you're low level, they are terrifying. They're a force to be reckoned with. But in the Magic set, it's just like a 3/3 for 4 that gets like +1/+1 if a creature dies or something. Like, it's god awful, complete garbage. And so there are going to be cards like that. And we were saying, when I was talking to Buddy today at the store, I hope it doesn't turn out that like Tonberry and whatever feel like disappointing garbage. And this doesn't feel like disappointing garbage. It starts off slow and then it can insta-gank people. And that gives the right vibe. It looks right. Everything for me adds up here, you know? Zillart, good, man. You know about Final Fantasy 14 and all that. I said earlier in the stream, man, that I don't know all of the Final Fantasies, so I don't know, specific background information for some of the cards we're going to end up looking at. Now, this is Final Fantasy V as the Tonberry, but Tonberry has been in multiple Final Fantasies, so it's not specifically, like, keyed into that one. I don't know how they choose, like, what game it's going to actually reference. Because I feel like this is probably a cheat where Wizards wanted to like that. Okay, here's what I think happens. I think they go, we want to make stuff across all these different Final Fantasy games, right? And some games are going to get more representation because they're just more fan favorites. Final Fantasy VI, Final Fantasy VII. They're going to get more representation for main characters and stuff like that, right? So these are a cheat where you can apply this to any. You can put Tonberry from any game that has Tonberry in it. So if you have Final Fantasy V, it's like, okay, there's not as many slots from Final Fantasy V that we're actually going to dedicate to the game, so we can kind of cheese it by taking this and putting it in there. But this is a good execution of Tonberry. Proc, you stopped at Final Fantasy 13. That's one more than me, buddy. I heard that one was called The Infinite Hallway. Now I want to play all the Final Fantasies again, even the first one. Although I would like to try a remastered version of it that is a little, I don't know, just a little bit better graphics, a little bit better sound, but still the retro feel, right? Okay, so next. Oh, here he is. Here he is, the fattest daddy in the land. The whole reason I chose to do the live stream on this subject tonight. This is dumb nonsense on an epic level. Tara, am I going to collect the Final Fantasy decks? Bro, you have no idea how badly I want those commander decks. They're going to be set at the price point of Modern Horizons 3, so I don't know what I'm going to end up with, but I want them with a desperate ferocity, bro. Especially Final Fantasy VI. As soon as I saw it, I was like, it's a Final Fantasy VI commander deck, and that's Terra. Oh my God, they're going to have everybody in here. Lock all of them. They're all going to be in here. Are we going to have a sandworm that exiles people, right, until it leaves the battlefield, right? Remember that? When everyone gets swallowed up into the sandworm and there's that mimic in there? You guys know what I'm talking about? I don't always remember the names of the different characters, honestly, because I rename them myself. So some of the names of characters I forget because I call them Dong Lord or whatever else. But man, anyways, back to the man of the hour right here. Jumbo Cactuar. 2 green and 5. 1/7. It's a plant creature. The beefiest plant ever. 10,000 needles. Whenever this creature attacks, it gets plus 999,000 power until end of turn. Some Cactuars live long lives and grow huge. This Jumbo Cactuar is one of them. Cactuars are knob jockeys that will fling crazy amounts of needles at you. 1,000 needles, 10,000 needles, they'll do 999 damage to you, 9,999 damage to you, basically, depending on where you're at, just insta-killing you by going, and they have this weird little goofy stance. Everything about Cactuars is amazing. And when I saw this guy, I literally clapped like a circus seal. I was like, bro, this is the best. I love it. It's big, it's dumb, it's ridiculous. All by itself, 1,000 power, 1,007 is just going to get chump blocked by a 1/1. I could throw a little stupid goat in the way, and the Cactuar is just like for like half an hour, just blasting it with needles. That goat's dead, buddy. Like, so you need other things. You need other things to actually, right, give him trample, give him something else, fling him, whatever it is, this guy dies to removal like nothing. There's nothing protecting this guy at all. By himself, he's big, dumb goofiness. But a 10,000 power, 7 toughness creature, he's just a vanilla creature at that point. He's just a vanilla creature, right? So I love it. I love it. Magic is sped up to the point where 7 casting cost creatures have to have a real impact on the board. He's going to have a real impact. And for people who like to build around stuff, man, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me right now? I am stoked on this, right? It's just, bro, imagine playing some, I'll attack you with my Jumbo Cactuar. All right, I'll deflecting palm it. What? Yeah, deflecting palm. You know? 10,000, but not to me. Call an ambulance, but not for me, right? Like, I love it. I love it. This is a big, dumb, exciting creature. It's totally got noob stamped all over it, and I love big, dumb Timmy noob cards. I always have. Big, dumb numbers on creatures, they titillate me. They make me happy. Giganosaurus can go suck butts now. Jumbo Cactuar is my new best friend. That's it. 10,000 needles, more like 10,000 good times. 10,000 games of glorious magic where I'm going to slap this fat donger down on the table. Yes. Oh my God. This is a standard legal set. This is going to be in standard. And they're putting this on Arena. I get to put 4 of these into my big green tower. I get to put 4 of these motherfuckers into my 250 card green deck on Arena. And I can instantly get them the day they release the set. Because I have hundreds and hundreds of wild cards. I have 650,000 gold. I have over a dozen draft tokens, thousands of gems. I am loaded on Arena. Oh yeah. I'm going to run 4 of these guys. 4 of these fat daddies. Oh, yeah. Lee, I'm still just calling you Lee because your name is a travesty, okay? So, Lee, bro, if you want my opinion on where to start with Final Fantasy, choose either 4, 6, or 7. And for me, nothing beats 6, bro. But for other people, nothing beats 7. I don't know. I don't think anybody said they like 4 more than 6, but everybody's different. Everybody's different. Lee, I don't care. You're allowed to make names to troll me. That's funny. That you're just being a part of the good times. Don't worry about it. But also the rules indicate. Look I got all these guys behind me, bro. I got all these guys behind me. That's it. That you think that I'm gonna look upon that name kindly? No. All right. So where are? Oh wait, no, that's not the. Oops. Don't pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. All right, so Jumbo Cactuar is, look at this, bro. It's got the pose. They have an alternate art version of this where he's posed from the side. I love it. Billable Super Chat says, I may Aether Drift from Magic, but I'll never get universes beyond you in this community. Happy belated Valentine's Day. Jumbo Cactuar, no protection. That's right, bro. We're doing it raw. And Billable, I'm glad that even though you might not be feeling magic, you're still feeling hanging with us because we always have a good time, bro. We always have a good time. And everybody's welcome to be a part of that good time unless they're a dickhead. And then they can get fucked, right? Let's go. Who's next? Garland, Knight of Cornelia. I'm not Cordelia. I'll not be there. 1 red, 1 black, 3/2 legendary human knight. This is whenever you cast a non-creature spell, surveil 1. 3, 2 black, and 2 red. Return this card from your graveyard to the battlefield transformed. Activate only as a sorcery. Yeah, that represents the you might have defeated me, but this is not my final form style battle, right? And that's what happens. That's what happens. The first time that happens to you in a game ever, you're like, wait, what? No, I beat you. I beat you, bro. And the flavor text says, I, Garland, will knock you all down, which is what he says in the game. And he's from the very first Final Fantasy. Now we got on the other side, he turns into Chaos, the Endless. 5/5 flying. That's it. When he dies, put it on the bottom of his owner's library. Even as you die again and again, I shall return. Look at that artwork. He's a legendary demon, and he's only 5/5. I guess that's because they made him an uncommon. I have to admit, it's underwhelming. The artwork. Look at him. Boom, he's framed up there in front of the Twilight, amassing magical energy. Get some! But, yeah. That's, this is what I was talking about. I said this earlier. We're going to run into cards where they don't feel big enough, grandiose enough. We had it with the D&D set. Even with rares like the Tarrasque, where you're like, this doesn't feel like the Tarrasque, bro. Nice try, though. Nice try. So, yeah. This is the end boss of the first Final Fantasy. He deserved better. He deserved better, right? This artwork, though. Pretty sweet, man. Pretty sweet, right? Okay. Sin, Spear's Punishment, leaping over to the villain of Final Fantasy X. Some people, why can't you call it Final Fantasy X? Final Fantasy X, deal with it. All right. 1 blue, 1 green, 1 black, and 4. 7/7 flying Leviathan Avatar. When Sin enters or attacks, exile a permanent card from your graveyard at random, then create a tapped token that's a copy of that card. If the exiled card is a land card, repeat this process. The whole story of Final Fantasy X gets so wild with like, wait, okay, so you're just like a sports star. Your dad's a super famous sports star. Wait, no, he's Sin. Wait, do you even exist? What even is this? You know what I mean? Like, it's wild. It's wild. From Final Fantasy X, bro, I love Yuna's spirit dancing. When she steps out onto the water with her staff and the awesome way that she's dressed, twirling around, boom, sending the spirits on their way. It's just so enchanting. It feels incredible and otherworldly. Can you imagine being there when something like that happens, It's exciting. It's exciting to me. Hey, Thompson Super Chat says, good to see you tonight. The Final Fantasy set looks great. Agreed, man. Agreed. So far, I am absolutely loving what I'm seeing, bro. 100%. Like, on the subject of Final Fantasy X, right? You got this artwork, and this is for Together Forever, right? So if you like that kind of a vibe, you've got that going on. And then the other artwork, the key artwork, which has gotten me hyped beyond belief. Kefka, Final Fantasy VI, literally poisoning the waters outside of Doma Castle. Such a dastardly thing to do. But it's so small on the scale of the stuff that Kefka does. He is a crazy maniac. And he keeps amping it up, right? And just the pure joy on his face as he's doing this, he is loving every moment of it. He is a villain to the core and absolutely enjoys it. And he's such an evocative and incredible villain, genuinely. Like, so memorable. Even just his laugh, right? It's awesome. It's awesome. So yeah, this is Sin. I don't know if we're gonna get other variations of it, but this is a pretty wild ability. I mean, it's 7 mana for a 7/7 flyer. And then you get to exile permanents from your graveyard at random and make copies of it. And if it gives you a land, it's just like, nah, lands aren't good enough. Have something else. Have something else, right? So a pretty epic monster. A pretty epic monster from Final Fantasy X. All right, next. We've got Stiltzkin the Moogle Merchant. Now, I've seen a bunch of Moogles, but I don't recall this dude. Which one is he from? Final Fantasy IX. Huh. Well, I mean, with Final Fantasy IX, I'm not remembering a lot of the names right now because it's been a long, long time. There's the Knight. Is his name like Stein or Steiner or something like that? There's the Knight. There's the Black Mage, Vivi. There's Monkey-tailed Zidane, right? Pretty sure that's his name. Who else? Who else? I don't remember this guy, honestly. So, 1 white mana, 1/2 lifelink, 2 and tap, target opponent gains control of another target permanent you control. If they do, you draw a card. Huh. I don't normally like giving my opponents things, but if I get to draw a card and I just give you something that doesn't matter, this actually feels great. This feels really strong for 1 white mana, you know? And he's got lifelink for some reason. Seems pretty solid. And the artwork is a lot of fun. Moogles are just overall fun, right? So yeah, for people who like to donate permanents to their opponents, this guy is going to be an all-star. You can just give them gross, obnoxious things that are just going to end them. Here you go, have a Lich's Tomb or something like that. It's just like, what? Yeah, this is your problem now. And I get to draw a card. So it would also work with dudes that are cards that just naturally return to you. You know, so if they move around and you're just like, here you go, I can give it to you, and I'm just going to get it right back. Seems pretty sweet, and I definitely like the artwork. It definitely has a nice Final Fantasy vibe to it. Then we got Cecil Dark Knight. So this is Final Fantasy IV. I love the whole redemption arc that he goes through to become a paladin. And I got in the habit of just hanging out on the mountain. After you battle yourself and become the paladin, I ended up just hanging out on that mountain, leveling up. So when I left the mountain, I was already just like, oh, right? Awesome. Was that the mountain where the earth mammoth ends up attacking you when you're going across the bridge or whatever? Man. Yeah, Final Fantasy IV is dope. Okay, so how'd they do this guy? Let's see what the leader of the Red Barons is like. 1 black, 2/3 death touch, darkness. Whenever he deals damage, you lose that much life. Then if your life total is less than or equal to half your starting life total, untap him and transform it. Oh, that's an interesting condition for transformation. All right. All right, well, what's the Paladin side like? Okay, Redeemed Paladin. 4/4 lifelink. Protect. Whenever he attacks, other attacking creatures gain indestructible till end of turn. Nice, man. This light and dark concept is awesome. And he looks so epic too, right? In both forms. The armor is dope. And it's only 1 mana. I mean, I don't know how exciting this will be in Commander per se, but in one-on-one, if you're just feeding a bunch of your life into other things anyways, and you can just slap this guy out for 1 black and transform him into a lifelinker that makes all your other guys indestructible, feels bonkers. It feels bonkers. And I am absolutely delighted to see one of my favorite moments in Final Fantasy history encapsulated in this card. Because for real, that was so cool, man. Like, different games showed me different moments. And I had never played a game where you take a character who basically goes on this journey of morality. He gives up his service. It's like, I can't serve you anymore, King. All right, what I'm doing ain't right. We're taking out people who don't deserve to be taken out. And I need to come to terms with what I've done and become a better person. And then he transforms into an avatar of light and becomes like a full-on true hero. It's an awesome story of redemption, and I'd never seen anything like it. Square was really good at delivering experiences that I never conceived of. The most jaw-dropping one for me actually isn't Final Fantasy. It's Chrono Trigger. The point in Chrono Trigger where the main dude gets disintegrated, when the main character just gets disintegrated and is just dead. And I'm just like, no, I must have done something wrong. I'll have to reload the game. And then it's just like, no matter what I do, I'm like, there's no way to stop this death. What's going on? I'm like, you can't. The main character can't be dead. That can't be a thing. That can't be a thing. And then you go on a quest to bring him back, and it's like, whoa! What? Chrono Trigger was also the one that introduced New Game Plus, where all of a sudden you could play a new game, and there was all these different warp points depending on when you went to them. You would go directly to the end boss at different stages of his progression in life. And it's, so cool! So cool. But yeah, this switching from the dark side to the light side, such an amazing moment. Emet-Selch Unsundered. This guy is from Final Fantasy, what is that, 14? No clue what this guy is. 1 black, 1 blue, and 1. 2/4 legendary Elder Wizard. That's pretty cool. Vigilance. Whenever he enters or attacks, draw a card and discard a card. At the beginning of the upkeep, if there are 14 or more cards in your graveyard, you can transform him. Is it 14 because it's Final Fantasy 14, or does this guy have something to do with the number 14? I really like the perspective that they've chosen here, where you can see him standing there with this menace. This guy's got to be a villain, right? I mean, right? There's got a villainous cast to it. The way we're looking up here, I don't know. And the little embers that are flying around him, is he about to set a city on fire? Right? What's this guy's deal? What is this guy's deal? Untap. Do I think they'll sell more Final Fantasy stuff? Oh yeah. Don't get twisted up into not seeing that like stuff is sold out on Amazon or whatever. Though, like, this is a standard release. Wizards of the Coast is going to make a bunch of it, right? The same goes for like they redid like Fallout decks. They had so many Fallout decks. They redid the Warhammer decks is what I meant. And there's like, with this kind of thing, they want to milk as much money out of the license as they can. So I don't know specifically in terms of collector booster boxes and the collector versions of the Commander decks, but I expect regular boosters and regular Commander decks to be available for the normal length of run that it'll be in Standard. So the same way that you can still buy Wilds of Eldraine Commander decks, Murders at Karlov Manor starter decks, or not starter decks, Commander decks, stuff like that, right? That's still available. So I expect that's going to be the case here. This dude is the last boss of the Shadowbringer expansion. He is an anti-hero. Okay. All right. Cool. So, he turns into Hades, Sorcerer of Eld. 6/6 Vigilance, Echo of the Lost. During your turn, you may play cards from your graveyard. Okay. If a card or token will be put into your graveyard from anywhere, exile it instead. So he's just Yawgmoth's Will on your turns. He's just Yawgmoth's Will on your turns, on top of being a 6/6 Vigilance. This is donkey dick dumb, bro. This is insane. Also, does he have wings made out of people's souls? Is that people being crushed in some kind of void? Or does he literally have a bunch of, like, is that literally supposed to be wings filled with people's souls? Like multitudes? What is that? That's insane. He's pretty fascinating looking, honestly. I'd like to see this artwork blown up to something bigger. This is really cool. This is nuts. This is so nuts, man. That's definitely cube worthy. Damn. All right, we got Cloud Planet's Champion. So now this is part of there's a Final Fantasy starter deck kit. So there's 2 starter decks. We've got Cloud and Sephiroth as the 2 heads of those decks, right? So Cloud Planet's Champion. 1 white, 1 red, and 3. 4/4 legendary human soldier mercenary. During your turn, as long as he's equipped, it has double strike and indestructible. Whoa, what? Equip abilities that target him cost 2 less to activate. Wow. And this is just in a starter deck, man. Normally they put complete jank in the starter packs, bro. This is crazy. This is crazy. It's not over yet. This isn't the end. There you go. There you go. Look at that, man. That's awesome. That is crazy. All right. Then we've got a reskin of Yuriko as Yuffie. I don't know how you say her last name. Kisaragi, something like that. 1 black, 1 blue, and 1. Legendary human ninja. Commander ninjutsu. It's so stupid. 1 black and 1 blue. Oh yeah, isn't this on the Game Changers list? Whenever a ninja you control deals combat damage to a player, reveal the top card of your library, put that card into your hand. Each opponent loses life equal to that card's mana value. This thing is dumb. This thing is dumb. Robert, what's my favorite Final Fantasy game? 6, bro. 6. It was known as 3 when it came out here originally, but 6 is my favorite. Vassal, it's the masks of people he wants to save. Oh. Okay. Well. Okay. Since I'm not connected to the story, and I just was like excited about it being souls, it being a bunch of masks of people that want to save, that's cool. But, you know, me. So yeah, they're definitely going to do different kinds of art styles. They're going to want to go with some stuff that, like harkens back to the older feel of some of the older Final Fantasies, right? So this is like, what's it called? This is the 90s for Final Fantasy, right? Right? So wait, so it's souls? They're souls that were sacrificed to summon a god? That's way better than masks, man. What? All right. So, what do we got next? Summon Shiva. Now this is something else, right? 2 blue and 3. It's a 4/5 saga. So it's an enchantment creature. We've never had enchantment saga creatures. We've had sagas that make creatures, but not sagas that are creatures. So this is very strange. The first 2 levels of it are tap target creature and opponent controls, put a stun counter on it. The 3rd level is draw a card for each tapped creature your opponents control, and they each have abilities like Diamond Dust, Heavenly Strike, named after what Shiva can do, okay? So this is, if you're wondering how it works, with this, you put it out, and basically, as soon as you put it out, you put a counter on it, right? And you do the first thing. Then the next turn, you do the second thing. Then the turn after that, you do the third thing, and then you sacrifice it. So after you draw a card for each tapped creature your opponent has, just gone, right? So this up here represents Shiva is like essentially an ice elemental. So she is freezing people with the stun counters, right? And this is a summon, and summons in battle only show up to help you briefly. They come in, do their magic, and then they peace out. So this works that way, which it's just weird to have an enchantment creature that literally sacrifices itself after 3 turns. So these function as fading counters almost, right? In a similar vein, although fading does work by taking counters off of it. But it's like a reverse fading, which is pretty wild. It's pretty wild. And I mean, if you can keep removing counters from her and placing nuke, like just let her keep going and keep going and keep going, you don't lose her. But ultimately, this is a very interesting way to represent summons that you use in Final Fantasy. So flavor-wise, very cool design, honestly. I really like it. I really like it. So you can put it out, and then if it doesn't have haste, you can only do its ability the first turn. Then on your next turn, you've had it out. It doesn't have summoning sickness anymore. You can swing with it on the second turn. And then on the third turn, because you do the counters right after you draw, you basically draw, put the third counter on it, and it dies. So you do get to swing in with it once. So you can have a magical effect and a combat effect from your summon. Not too bad. Not too bad. Titus can move around counters. Yep, Titus does have the ability to move counters around. So you could take these counters off of it and move it on to other things. Okay. So, very cool. And I mean, the artwork, that's Shiva right there, looking very Shiva-esque. So, ultimately, this is tied together quite well. Let us summon a sea in a new dream world. So, this is representing Final Fantasy X. I don't know why specifically they chose Final Fantasy X, but again, this is one of those ones where they can just kind of shove it in wherever they want because Shiva shows up in a bunch of different games. Then we got Saz's Chocobo. I don't know who Saz is. He is from, or she is from Final Fantasy 13, which I did not play. So this is a little baby Chocobo. I assume maybe it grows up during the course of the game, or it's just a fun little pet. 1 green for a 0/1 landfall. Whenever a land you control enters, put a +1/+1 on this creature. I presume that this thing grows as you goes. The chick has no name, as voicing the true identity of the animal might trigger ripples of destiny across Cocoon and cause a hurricane in Eden. Either that or Saz just hasn't thought of one yet. Well, I'm going to assume that that will be satisfactory to the people who know this character and this Chocobo. To me, I like Chocobos, so I'm cool with that. One that grows with lands. I already have a landfall deck, so all right. Not kicking the doors in, but also not making me go terrible. Oh, that one, it lives in Buddy's hair? Okay. All right. Here's Sephiroth, planet's air. He's got lots of that air in the air. His hair is in the air. 1 black, 1 blue, and 4 for a 4/4 legendary human avatar soldier. Cool. Cloud wasn't an avatar, was he? But Sephiroth has like all that Genova DNA all up in him, right? So 4/4 vigilance. When he enters, creatures your opponents control get -2/-2 until end of turn. Gross. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, put a +1/+1 counter on him. This is the end for all of you. Cloud says no. He says no, buddy. That's not what's going on. That's not what's going on. All right, so that's that's the other one from the starter deck. Doesn't seem too bad. Doesn't seem too bad. And then we've got a side quest from Final Fantasy 15, Catch a Fish. This feels like a waste to shove into this to me. Like, really? There's tons of awesome monsters, and I don't even know what this does. I haven't even read its abilities, and we'll do that. But I just want to tell you my gut reaction when I see it. Cards that say side quest, Catch a Fish, very weird. Doesn't feel right. It's like, I cast the magical enchantment known as Eternal Night. You know, okay. I cast the magical enchantment known as Side Quest, Catch a Fish. What? Give you the side eye for that one, you know? So, I don't like this as a concept, and I'm not going to pretend like I do. The card is 1 white and 2 for an enchantment. It says, at the beginning of your upkeep, look at the top card of your library. If it's an artifact or creature card, you can reveal it and put it into your hand. If you put a card into your hand this way, create a food token and transform this enchantment. I am Noctis, Prince of Lucius, and King of Fishing. Okay. And then we got a cooking campsite. Land that taps for a white mana, or 3 and tap, sack an artifact, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. Not a bad ability. Like, mechanically, it just lets you get a food token just by having an artifact or creature on top of your deck, and then be up a land and have the ability to put a +1 on all your dudes. So, I mean, what is it, uncommon? For an uncommon, it doesn't seem that bad from a power perspective, but the overall flavoring and naming of it, it's like, okay, a guy's fishing. I mean, the artwork is nice. The artwork is competently done, and the vista in the background is enjoyable, but ultimately, it's just a guy fishing. What is this, The Hobbit? And then here's a campsite where we're cooking, right? So, meh, you know. I don't like the way that this one's put together, but that's fine. Oh, okay. So that is all of the Final Fantasy cards. We have gone through all of the spoilers that have been revealed, with the exception of the cards that I discussed in the video that I put out yesterday, right? So that's where I talked about those other spoilers. So now we have officially covered all of that Final Fantasy goodness. And with the exception of the fishing campsite thing, I like the cards. It's whatever. I mean, at this point, Wizards put in like spells like you spot guards coming and things. They've already added weird stuff like that in, and I get that they're aiming towards Final Fantasy players and go, oh, this is a quest in the game I play. So while I don't care for it and I don't feel like it's a good fit, other people enjoy it, and they're welcome to, right? Not everything. I don't think there's ever been a set where like everything hit 100% for me. So I don't have these insane standards where it's like, okay, there can't be anything wrong with the set. There can't be things that I don't agree with flavor-wise or any of it, right? That's right, Shiva. The Loot Shrine. Have I seen the alt art for Terra? Yes, actually I did. I saw that when I was gathering up the images for this stream. So, absolutely awesome. Absolutely awesome. I love the Final Fantasy. You know, maybe next time I should include the alternate art stuff too, and we can just take a look at variants. There's no real harm in that at all. So yeah, when it comes to the Final Fantasies I haven't played, I can't really make any predictions as to what they're going to include. No idea. But I know what I'm hoping to see from like the earlier ones, right? Obviously, they're going to do like main characters. We've seen Cecil. We'll probably get like Rydia, Palamporum, all that. Seems like people are more happy about this Final Fantasy set than Aether Drift. Of course they are. Aether Drift is terrible. Aether Drift is incredibly lazy, and you can tell when you look at it. It's incoherent. You look at it and you're just like, what is this? Wizards of the Coast has been using a ton of slush art. They used to only use slush art when it fit into the world, right? But then the Modern Horizons and Master Sets came along, and Wizards was able to use a bunch of slush art from the vault, so they didn't have to pay for new artwork they had already paid for, right? Okay, bam, we'll just pull this artwork out. Those costs have already been paid in previous quarters. So it makes the set creation at that time cheaper. So the bigwigs look at it and go, oh man, all the slush art that they're using, actually, you know what? There's no reason that I can't have this rolling on here as well. So hold on, let me just resize this. Let me just resize this into a more viewable setup, because not everybody was here when all these cards were going by, right? So where are we going to put this? Let's go, we'll make it a bit smaller, and it can hang out in front of the loots here. All right, yeah, that'll work. Hold on. So we'll change that to that, and there we go. All right. So yeah, basically what happens is they go, well, we can use all this slush art and we save a whole bunch of money because it's already costs we paid. So they bring down this edict saying, you got to start using more slush art because it saves us money. And more importantly, Wizards is leaning more and more. Hey, here he is again. Oh yeah, 10,000, baby. Anyways, Wizards is leaning more and more into Universes Beyond, which they can't put slush artwork into. They can't put any slush artwork into Final Fantasy because their random creations aren't in Final Fantasy. So they're basically blowing all the slush art out of the vaults, which is why Markov Manor had all of that garbage with the detectives, because those were all the policemen that had been removed from the Capenna set because Wizards of the Coast are clownish idiots. And they went, yo, there's a lot of people upset about police on Twitter when we're designing Capenna. And they're like, oh no, Capenna's about crime families and the police. And then some genius was like, I got it, we'll take all the police out. So they gutted the set. They took the police out. If you're ever wondering why, like, it only seemed like certain families were even represented. Wow, we're doing an awful lot with the Cabaretti, but nothing's going on over here. If you ever wondered why that was, or what the event of the meeting of the 5 families and all that was, Wizards just threw that all off to the side. Even they're just like, there's no police. There's no police on Capenna. We don't want you guys to be upset about police because I saw on Twitter you're upset about the police. So there's no police in Capenna, okay? There's no police in Capenna. So then you go, so what kind of set is this? Well, there's these 5 crime families, okay? And they're in charge of Capenna. Okay. So they're doing all kinds of crimes in Halo. And it's like, no, they're not committing crimes, though. What are you talking about? If there are 5 crime families, but they're in charge, they're the government. They're the lawmakers. They're in charge. There's no rules to break because they're the rule makers. That's it. So they completely gutted the concept of Capenna. And it wasn't a crime family set. We're all doing crime. No, you're in charge. You're in charge. You're the government. So they had all those police artworks left over, and they went, put them in Ravnica. Maybe no one will notice that Ravnica already has a police force and lawyers and judges and everything, and there's literally nowhere for the detective agency to be. And they acknowledge that in the story, where the detectives have to run to the scene of a crime before anybody else can get there, try and detect what happens, and then hand anybody they catch and any evidence over to the Boros and the Azorius. They literally serve no function. And to make them try and feel like they fit on Ravnica, Wizards took the Capenna slush art and went, 1920 guys are on Ravnica now. And you go, that doesn't fit. And they go, excuse me, here's a lightning elemental that we painted a hat onto. It's wearing a bowler hat, dickhead. So yeah, it does fit. So that's what it's been. It's been slush art city. And Aether Drift took it to a new level where they're like, what if we just picked multiple worlds that we already have a bunch of artwork for, staple them together into a race across these plains, but really, here's a bunch of random disparate artwork with roads painted on it. Roads are the new hats. So Aether Drift, everybody can feel it's garbage. And loot's at the forefront, totally forced, like we're supposed to love them and care about it. The flavoring concepts for the people who actually like to go and read about the legendary creatures and stuff. Here's some of the stuff about legends that you might not know about Aether Drift. Winter, who hails from Duskmourn. Guess what? He's been cursed. Do you know what he's been cursed with? Infinite road rage. And he has a curse that can never be lifted. And he has to win the race so the curse can be lifted. And if that hurts your brain, it hurt mine too. Wizards wrote that. That's on their website. That's what they said. Also, Winter is linked to the Speed Demon, who always threatens to destroy him. And the Speed Demon has to have things sacrificed to him all the time because he has an insatiable need for speed. Again, I didn't make that up. Who cursed him? Why, Valgavoth, of course. Didn't you know that Valgavoth... Couldn't you tell from the Duskmourn set that Valgavoth was planning to put together a Formula 1 race team and was going to curse Winter into being endless road rage guy while also pulling out his demon that has an insatiable need for speed and linking them together? Didn't you get that? Didn't you know that Winter's supposed to be Ghost Rider in this set and his leg gets broken at the end of the story? And also Elspeth shows up at the end of the story to fight dragons? Also at the beginning of the story, Chandra's all upset because of the paparazzi. She's scared of the paparazzi. But then she realizes the paparazzis just want to know that I can go fast. So you know what she tells the paparazzis? Don't worry, I know you want to know that I can go fast, and I can, because guess what? My dad got lots of speeding tickets, and I was in his lap when he got those speeding tickets. Again, I am not making this up. This is the written canon lore. This is in the Magic multiverse. Some people are like, oh, you're clowning on Aether Drift, but you're excited about Final Fantasy. Well, first of all, they didn't shove Final Fantasy into Magic the Gathering. Secondly, Final Fantasy has big, deep, epic stories, and we're going to be seeing stuff from that instead of this, like, crap in my mouth set that is Aether Drift. Beep, beep, vroom, vroom. Don't talk about it that way. Don't disparage it. That's exactly what it is, bro. That's exactly what it is. It's terrible. It's terrible. Wizards of the Coast has the potential, like, bro, they had the potential to create incredible, epic worlds, but they just didn't. They just didn't. People at the top decided that it was time to go lowest common denominator and make garbage for idiots. And lo and behold, it's not paying off. When you make hollow trash, nobody really connects with it. Some people like race cars. Okay, cool. And they can be like, finally, a race car set. None of this makes sense. Thunder Junction. Thunder Junction was where they went, screw you. Commander's the only thing that matters. So now we're just going to put 50 legendaries on this world. 50 characters you guys care about and know about are all going to be here. Wow, that's cool. That's cool. I'm really curious to see what they're doing. Wow, you're telling me Lazov came to this plane? Wow, he's the leader of the Dimir Guild, and he has secretive motives. I wonder what he's here for. Oh, he's just pretending to be 50 different people, and he's got wanted posters, and there's no story follow-up. And none of these legendary guys have actual reasons to be here? Really? They're just here. Okay. So what's this plane? Well, there was never anybody here. There was never anybody here, and nobody's had their land taken from them. There was never anybody here. There was never anybody here. So there's these native cactive people who live there, and then there's these dragon people who are there too. But nobody lived here before, and nobody's land is being taken. That is not happening. That didn't happen. So anyways, they all come to Thunder Junction, okay? And everybody uses thunder blasters, okay? And they all wear like leather dusters and cowboy hats. Everybody? Yes. So everybody forgoes their traditional style of dress and their favored weaponry and everything? Yup. Okay. What compels them to do that? So yeah, anyways, all the legendary guys are there. Yeah, no. What are they doing there? What is anybody doing there? And more importantly, why is everybody wearing cowboy hats and using thunder blasters? What even is thunder? Where does it come from? Why do people... Listen! We don't have the balls to do a cowboy set with guns, even though we fucking did Nerf crossovers and all this other stuff, but like, no guns. Just what looks like two rifles glued to each other, but they're not guns! It's the outside of a thunder blaster. Two in the... So, thunder gets blasted, right? Okay, but what is thunder? It's what gets blasted. Okay, but what do you do with thunder? You blast it! What? Care to elaborate? Yes, you blast thunder out of a thunder blaster. I don't know. Look at this. Look at this centaur with spurs on the back of his front legs. Why does he have spurs? Spurs are what you kick into a horse. Is this centaur riding another horse? What is this? Shut up. Thunder blasters. There's no, like, the most minimal amount of effort. Literally, just make it magic inherent to the plane, where no other, if you go there, your inborn magic, the magic you're used to, is all wonky here. And the only thing that can be reliably used is thunder magic. Therefore, everybody uses thunder magic, right? That's the deal. Everybody uses thunder magic because they have to, because they can't rely on their magic. Boom, you've got your thunder problem solved. The different stylings for it, who cares? Yeah, everyone has their own preference on how they want to use thunder, but everybody uses thunder because other magic isn't reliable. Now, why is everybody wearing cowboy hats and dusters? Easy. The plane hates anybody who's from outside. So, the way that you trick the plane's magic, because it's not the smartest, is basically some primal elemental shit, is you have to wear garments made out of creatures that are native to there. So whatever cows they have on Thunder Junction, you have to wear their leather. It's the easiest way to trick the plane into thinking you're a denizen. So you don't use your magic because it can't be trusted, because again, the plane hates outsiders and it messes with their magic. And now you have a reason. And also, why is everybody in wooden buildings instead of having concrete buildings? Because people are literally coming to build rail yards and train lines when they're coming from Capenna, and they live in concrete buildings, but they don't bother to do that in Thunder Junction. They all live in rickety wood buildings. Why do they have to do that? The answer is, again, the plane hates outsiders. So you have to build from its own bones, the stones and wood that's available and native to the plane. It's so easy to make all of this work, but they don't do any of it. They don't do any of that. They just go, they're all here and all the wooden buildings and whatever, except in Nashi's story, where Nashi goes to the Ultra Megaplex, which is a gigantic concrete stadium that has 50 different businesses in it. It has multiple discos and bars and stuff, and it has a high-tech elevator that uses key cards like at the call center that I used to work at. Boop. So Nashi goes in and hacks the key card terminal and goes up to the top floor, and there's Catherine Zeta-Jones laser tripwires. And he goes into a room where Obeka, who has no illusion magic because she's a time mage, she has no illusion magic, where Obeka's cast an illusion on a room for no reason. And then that illusion gets shattered for no reason. And Nashi grabs this potion. He's there to get this potion, right? And one of his drones grab it or whatever, and Obeka goes, I'm a time mage, bitch. Reverses time and instantly has the potion back like it's nothing. So Nashi's like, no fair! And he leaves, goes back to his hotel room, and he spends the night upgrading his drones. And then he comes back, he goes all the way back up to where Obeka is, and then he goes, I dropped my invisibility spell. But the story forgot to tell us that he became invisible at any point. I went back and read it again, because I was like, where does it say he turned invisible? It doesn't. He's just invisible now. Okay. What is this? This is like a 4-year-old wrote it. How did he get in here? He was invisible. When did he turn invisible? So anyways, he's in there and he goes to Obeka. Thanks. I used your magic now to make my drones awesome. So it makes a bunch of illusions of Nashi. And Obeka just goes like this. And punches at the illusions. And then Nashi takes the potion. And you guess what happens next, right? Obviously Obeka reverses time because he's a time mage. But nope, because the story, we've almost hit the word count for the story. So Obeka just doesn't reverse time. There's no explanation for it. She just doesn't reverse time, even though she could with no problems at all. She doesn't reverse time, and Nashi runs out the front door, and Tamio's ghost goes, you did it, Nashi, you won! And then Nashi leaves Thunder Junction forever. That's magic, bro. That's the crap they've been writing. Instead of the epic old school stories, it's lazy horseshit garbage where like everything's Commander and Commander players are morons who don't deserve proper stories and people don't connect to lore. Yes, they do, idiot. A lot of the properties you've been milking have incredible lore, you dumb monkey-brained fucks. Oh, let's rattle some off. Warhammer 40k, incredible lore. So deep, so fucking much. Final Fantasy, yup. Fallout, you guessed it again. Oodles of lore. Amazing world building. But Wizards of the Coast just pissing it all away on dumb horse shit. And we're supposed to get excited about beep beep vroom vroom? No. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So yeah, it's a real frustrating situation to find yourself in as somebody who genuinely appreciates the lore, gets into stories, pays attention to all this. I have an entire channel about magic lore with over 150 different videos of me talking about the magic lore. And these recent stories have just been crushing my spirit. Thunder Junction, I quit covering the story after that Nashi stuff. I'm like, no, this is so dumb. There was insane inconsistencies in this where they're like, the plane is completely uninhabited. And so we're going to have these necromancers raise a bunch of corpses to stop this train. Whoa, hold on a minute. You told us nobody lives here. Yup, this plane's uninhabited. Nobody's here. And there was nobody here. Okay. So anyways, they raise all these dead bodies. No. 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 You just said there's nobody here, and there was nobody here. So anyways, they raised these bodies to stop the train. You have Rakdos with you. You show Rakdos stopping a train in the fucking goddamn trailer for this set. But you don't even have Rakdos show up for this train shit. Like, what? And then those two necromancers, after they raised all those deads to stop a train, they're going to find a graveyard. Later on in the story, they're going to find a fucking graveyard. And in that part of the story, they're going to go, this can't be here. There's no dead bodies on this world. This can't be here. This has to be trapped. This can't be here. No, you don't get to say there can't be dead bodies and stuff like this here. When you literally raised a bunch of dead bodies that shouldn't exist. You can't fucking acknowledge that after this has happened in the story. You can't fucking do this to me. I had to deal with the fact that it didn't make sense then. You can't outwardly acknowledge it after you've already raised dead that shouldn't exist. You can't say there can't be dead here when you over here raised dead that can't be here. It can't be here, man. It can't be here. You can't walk up and go, there's a grilled cheese on this plate. I'm going to eat this grilled cheese. And then you can't walk into another room and go, there's a grilled cheese. But there can't be grilled cheeses anywhere here. This is impossible. It's impossible for there to be a grilled cheese here. Bitch, you just ate grilled cheese in the other room. I have a brain that functions. I read the words that you wrote. Like, go fuck yourself. That's how it makes me feel. It's aggravating. It's aggravating. So yeah, it's so empty. They used to put, like, you'd get full novels, and we're not talking Wheel of Time level fantasy writing, but they were enjoyable. They were good. There was effort put into them. It was an actual story. Whereas now it's like 5-paragraph installments where virtually nothing happens. The writing is clunky and contradictory. The first installment of Aether Drift, how I can sneak out from my dad's house to go racing in the cars because we don't have servants anymore. Okay. Next paragraph, Dad says, hey, why didn't you get up on time today? I didn't set my alarm. Why didn't you have one of the servants wake you? I didn't want to. Dad's mad because he has to pay the servants now. Okay. You just said there weren't servants. And now you're saying they're servants and they're being paid, which means servants before were slaves. So you've literally just retconned slavery into the previous Kaladesh set that you gave us, that you never mentioned at all. Slavery has just stopped. So slavery is inherent now in the previous Kaladesh, just auto-retconned in, all for a moment of you going, that Seed of Varma's a good person because she's against slavery. I don't know anybody who's for it. I haven't met anybody who's pro-slavery in my fucking life. So what is this supposed to make her fucking stand out as some epic character, but ultimately completely destroys Kaladesh all by itself? And in the exact same story installment, we have to hear about Chandra and how she's handled all kinds of multiplanar problems, but she never knew how to deal with the paparazzi. The paparazzi. And then my dad got speeding tickets. Your dad was a wanted criminal. The consulate would have taken him and imprisoned him for life and executed him. They wouldn't have given him a citation for speeding. Right? But you're just saying he got stopped for speeding tons of times. And that's proof of why you can drive a car fast in Magic the Gathering. That's the world building now. Like, we can't have fallen any farther than this. It's impossible. This is worse than garbage fan fiction. It's insane. It's insane. It's insane. Like, absolutely ridiculous. It's so wild that they've let it get to this point. I mean, they tried to just, hey, you guys didn't like the War of the Spark novel because we only sold you the second half of the novel. They had 2 people writing it. The first person didn't get finished in time. So they sold the second half as the entire book. And then when people went, this is garbage, and got upset, they were like, we're not releasing the Theros story. And then they're just like, we're not even going to write stories anymore. And then they just went, actually, this is really bad for us, and we do need lore and world building. And so then they acknowledged that they did, and brought it back, and then just turned into this half-assed garbage, where even when we were dealing with storylines that had interesting subject matter, like March of the Machines, Phyrexia, All Be One, literally Akiri Line Slinger or whatever, she's in the story as Akira. multiple times. Akira's just in there. And just things like, oh, Ren falls from the sky, lands on the ground, and then like 3 sentences later, somebody's catching her midair. Unless she's a rubber ball and bounced, bro, you already told us she's laying on the ground over there. Like, nobody is proofreading this shit. You run it through the spell checker. Don't worry about names that got squiggles under it. Yeah, it's good, it's done, whatever. Send the $18 to the writer. That's the deal. That's the deal. It's ridiculous. So yeah, they're not willing to put in the effort to write genuine stories. And then you've got all the stuff over the last few years as well, where they got into all kinds of political derangement as well, which is a subject I stay away from because I find it to be a tedious conversation that's been talked to death about. But it definitely had an impact on their storytelling and diminished a number of sets. And it's had a knock-on effect where they had to frantically staple Kellen onto multiple sets in an attempt to try and smooth out some of the horrendous choices that they had made. But if you go and look at the Brothers War trailer, you will realize that the original story was actually Teferi gets sent back in time and alters the outcome of the Brothers' War in some ways. The main events stay the same, but magic is introduced on a whole new level, and the battle's more epic. We got robbed. The Brothers' War, we got robbed, man. Absolutely robbed. Wolf, you started following me because you fell in love with the lore. It adds so much. It adds so much. I mean, I've talked enough about the lore here that if you've never heard the Brothers' War story at all, it's my favorite storyline in all of Magic the Gathering. And I have covered the entirety of that novel in the Brothers' War playlist, right? So there's 150 lore videos over on my Fantasy Geographic channel, and only 2 or 3 of them aren't magic related. I got a bunch of old school lore, and I cover some of the newer stuff as well. And when I cover the newer stuff, I trim out a lot of the fat, because even the Bloomborough story had a bunch of fat in it, where it was just like, and Mabel's first kid did this, and Mabel's second kid wanted carrots, and Mabel's third kid went up to the door. And it's like, really? Like, I loved Bloomborough. We should have got the set longer, but the story was totally stretched out at the beginning with fluff garbage, and it didn't follow the progression the way it should have. What we should have gotten was the squirrel necromancers were the minions, right? So you run into the minions of the mid-boss, and they basically lead you to the mid-boss. Cruel Claw is the mid-boss. So we're supposed to track down Cruel Claw and think, this is it, this is the end, we're going to get the owl's egg back and end it here. But when you get to Cruel Claw and defeat him, he's all like, yeah, you can kill me, but you'll never stop who I work for, right? And then they're like, tell me who it is, King Glarb, or whatever, you know? Or he doesn't say, and he disappears, and then they go to King Glarb, and King Glarb is like, I'm actually the big bad. But it was like, we got the minions, and then it's straight on to King Glarb, and then he's like, come on out, mid-boss, we'll fight them together. And it's like, you guys should have staged this out, bro. You should have staged this out. But ultimately, that's a minor quibble. Bloomborough was satisfying. The entire set smacks of effort. They genuinely tried with it. And aside from cramming Ralzeric, stapling Ralzeric onto it, the whole thing works. It works. All of it comes together properly. The trailer, the cards, the written story, and it's rare now to get anything remotely close to that out of Wizards. So Bloomborough was a nice breath of fresh air in that regard. So they're capable. They're capable of delivering something of worth, but they just refuse to do it in their attempt to appeal to as many people as possible with generic slop garbage. Mad Max is in here, and Mario Kart, and all these other random things. Come on, it's awesome. Vroom, vroom, beep, beep. Magic the Gathering on cards. It's only a death race if you die. Ha ha, beep, beep, vroom, vroom. Like, it's such a joke. It's such a joke. I can't appreciate Aether Drift because it's trash. It's trash. They didn't try and make like their own Magic the Gathering race set with stuff that felt like it would fit into the world. They just went, how many different lazy tropes can we staple together? They used to do nods to things. And it feels like set design became, think up every single lazy idea you can in regards to something. Race. Okay, we got the whiteboard. Write down everything about racing. Any racing games you can think of. Anything. All of it. Racing games, racing movies, racing shows. Any like generic trope you can think of. And we'll put them all in. And Wizards knows we hate that now. They already know we hate that. But it takes 2 years for them to actually learn from this stuff and start designing for it. That's why Rosewater told us, buckle up for 2025, because it's going to be the same. Edge of Eternities is also going to be a bunch of tropey slop garbage. It will probably be better than Aether Drift, but not by much. So that's the reality. So yeah, with Tarkir, I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know if they're going to reskin it or if it's literally going to be like a normal style Magic set and they just have no faith in those currently and are way more interested in trying to market all of their Universe Beyond stuff and just push that way harder and keep that pumping and just let Tarkir just kind of blurp out. This is supposed to be the culmination of the Dragon arc. The elements of the Dragon arc are very, very random, honestly, and not satisfying. The Bloomborough part with the actual dragon coming through and being a part of this story relevant in a relevant way, that worked. But Duskmourn, they were just like, kind of sees some illusions of some dragons that existed at one point, maybe. Okay, cool, that counts. And then for Aether Drift, dragons show up at the end and Elspeth fights them. What? Yeah, it's the Dragonstorm arc. Get hyped for Tarkir. We won't tell you anything about it. It's coming out in like 6 weeks. Tarkir's the set I know the least about. I know more about Edge of Eternities than I know about Tarkir, which is crazy. It's crazy. It's not for lack of me looking. I've been trying to find information on Tarkir and coming up with nothing. I got people telling me about shit further down the line, but nothing. It's crickets in the grass for Tarkir. Like crickets 100. It's wild. Anyways, thanks for coming and hanging out. Terror! Whoop, bam. You are Lord of the Board, which means you will be placed on an art card and added in to the Box of Glory. So, thanks for coming out, everybody. This will be uploaded over on the stream archive if you didn't get to see it in its entirety and you want to see the rest of it. And I stream pretty much every night, either here or over on my live stream channel. If you never want to miss them, hop in the Discord. All right? I'm getting on up out of here. Where are you going to go, Chainsaw Man? No, we're going to go loot. Pull over. I heard they like loot in prison.